course emerged from finding out that mothers particularly, but many, many fathers also, were able to understand the homeopathic principle, incorporate it into their knowledge, and without a medical background even, by sitting with me in the consultation, seeing their children being treated, they could learn how fevers can be kept under control, how antipyrexials were no longer necessary, how the fever was in actual fact the defense mechanism of the body switching in, the factory is working, the wheels are turning, the lights are on, and a fever goes up, which means that the virus cannot replicate as quickly as it could at a lower body temperature. The body is doing everything it can to overcome the infection, producing antibodies. What we need to do is not to suppress the fever, but to utilize remedies that make that fever even more efficient in its function. Two big remedies: aconite, belladonna. Other remedies: ferrum phos, apis, guaiacum, opium. It was so easy to teach these mothers who were keen to learn. Now, inevitably, of course, we have 4 children. Paddy, my wife, learned in the same manner, remembering remedies that I would prescribe for the children in the event of an acute happening. And lo and behold, I mean, I was a busy man in practice. When I used to come home in the evenings and the children were ill, Paddy had already started the prescription. She learned from the experience of treating her own children, simple homeopathic domestic medication. And I realized, but this is wonderful. If we can then create a mother's course and teach formally over a specific time the art of homeopathic prescribing, a basic understanding of the simple remedies, the primary remedies, which we call polycrests, remedies of many functions, then it would be a wonderful thing to do. So I put out feelers, found out from patients whether the mothers would be interested in attending a course of lectures for them, teaching them domestic medicine, giving them the advantages that I had had as a child. If I was anxious before an examination, frightened, test fear at least, phobia, examination phobia, argentum nitricum would be the remedy that would help me. In the acute event, gelsemium, wonderful. So for all the little problems, school phobia, calc phos, for all the little problems that one has in family life, the anxieties, the fears, fear of the dark, fear of dogs, fear of heights, claustrophobic feelings, wonderful simple remedies that can be given for people suffering from these things with no need for chemical interference. In doing this, one builds up the strength of the psyche so that that person moves on into life with that fear removed. Otherwise, these fears and phobias of childhood become the foundation upon which the adult fears start to be built up. So at an early age, if you can start with natural therapy at that time, you can stop all the psychic problems which are so manifest in the world today, the anxieties, the depressions, the fear. This always associated with counseling and instruction and giving people an insight into the fact that life is a temporary state. We are visitors in this dimension, that we are multidimensional, that we are immortal, that we are spirit, not physical bodies, that we inhabit a physical body for a period of time for a particular purpose. We are all on a particular journey. And it is an immense privilege and honor for a homeopathic doctor to share that journey with his patients. And this, of course, led to the further development of other lectures at a more adult level or at a deeper level, where we're dealing actually with problems of the psyche, the emotional life, which ultimately, of course, is what life is all about, the overcoming of our weaknesses, developing our strengths, and a spiritual perspective rather than a materialistic perspective. So the course, the principles, emerge from practice, experience with parents, particularly mothers, and then the opening up of this we used to do it on a weekly basis. Every Saturday we would have a lecture, and the lectures that we have recorded, which you have so kindly gathered together, express this. And it gives you an insight into the simple illnesses, starting off with colds, fevers, flu, if we think of all the complaint problems that children develop, sore throats, tonsillitis, sore throats, laryngitis, ear infections. How often do we get this? But also teething problems, sleep problems, incontinence, the enuresis that children have, sometimes bedwetting, which, as we know, can go on into teenage years even and create tremendous complexes. So giving insight into how these things can be treated easily, simply, in an uncomplicated way, with substances which are totally non-toxic, which have no negative effects whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I give you some background, I think, Mary.